Yo, what's poppin'? It's Tommathan. We have the final day of the playoffs. We have the final match of the Overwatch League Season 5 postseason done in the books. We have Grand Finals champ, we have the MVP, we have the new hero teased, all of that stuff. And I'm here to break down these matches for you. Not break them down, I'm here to recap them. I'm here to give you a nice little review of these matches. So starting off, losers finals. Nice little teaser to start the day. Nice little ease in, a nice appetizer. Quick 3-0 for Shock. Utter domination. Houston had maybe, I want to say, 6 fight wins in the last 2 maps. Proper had a 17.5 final blow per 10 stat. That's all you need to know. Another thing that's worth noting, Mikey was in for Nepal and Kings Row, and Route 66, Kalush comes in to play his only map of the day. You heard that right. His only map of the day, this Route 66. And now Houston, it started off on Nepal, 2-0 from Shock, right? 3-1 on Kings Row for Shock, and a 2-1 on Route 66 also for Shock. Map starts out, Dante immediately dies. Striker didn't partake in the kill. He had 30% after 2 fights on his ult charge. It's just proper, right? And you sit back, and after this, I'm like, oh, we're in for a grand finals. This is not going to be a 4-1 like I thought for Dallas. This is going to be a banger, and it was. But this map was just like, it was Shock's warm-up. It was just Shock's warm-up. Striker was feeling himself. He was hitting nice flank blossoms, going crazy with it. Merritt had some times where, like, Houston were winning their fights, basically. Merritt was killing something, or it was like a clusterfuck Kitsune ult kind of fight. But Shock was just better here. Straight up. Like 17.5 final blows per 10 in 2 maps is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I don't know what else to say about that. I don't want to talk about this one too much. Just a nice little warm up. But I'll get to the main event. I have some things to say about this absolute 4-3 win from the Dallas Fuel to win the championship of Overwatch 2, the first championship of Overwatch 2 to the Dallas Fuel. 4-3. Now look at this match summary. There's a lot, right? So first up, Dallas win Lijiang 2-1. Shock go back 2-1 on Kings Row. Shock win Dorado 3-2. They're up 2-1 at this point. They can win. Esperanza 1-0 for Dallas. Now that 1-0 is a 83-70. Pretty close. That's a 1 fight difference. Shock wins 1 more fight there. They win. Go to Oasis, a 2-1 for the Shock. Absolutely brutal. Shock responded with a back-to-back 100 to O's, basically. Insane. Not even basically. They just did. Route 66, 2-1 for Dallas. This was map point. League point. Championship point for Shock. And then Coliseum was a 117 to 58 win for Dallas. So right there, very back and forth. Huge stuff going on. And Mikey played each and every single second of it. And like, I'll talk about Mikey first. I'll talk about the tanks first, because I got things to say about every role here. Mikey didn't play like the worst player on earth, right? I give Mikey a lot of shit, and I said in my haters guide, if you play Mikey, you're not winning, 0% chance. They were pretty close with Mikey. They were pretty close. But I kind of stand by that. He had 0 scrim time on any subtype that was not Koth. He said in a tweet. And to me, it's like, stick with what got you here. I don't know what again. Maybe the spark tipped their hand. They're like, oh, we have to play Mikey everywhere now. It's much better, surely. Or something. I don't know why they choose this now. Maybe they were just feeling it with Mikey. Whatever the reason is, stick to what you've been practicing. Stick to what's gotten you to top 3, basically, is what I think. And in that final 4 maps, the final back half of the series, I felt like Mikey was just not doing it. I felt like the primal rages were not there to shut down Edison. Edison was able to do more than proper in some maps, and he had a lot less pressure on him. Now, I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because Dallas were throwing every single body they could at proper to stop him from deadlifting this team. But I just felt like he only had like 1 kill in the final 4. Like, it didn't feel like a lot. That's probably an over-exaggeration. Surely he has more than 1 kill. But I can only remember 1. I can only, like, there's only a handful of times where I felt like his primals were really tipping the scales. And I know, and I feel like Kaluj was hitting them yesterday. There was times where Kaluj was out primaling Gushue. So I just don't really understand why in the grand final situation, this is what the season's for. You don't bring out the guy you've been practicing with the entire season, the entire postseason, except for one map type with Mikey. But I don't know if it changes the outcome too much. I think there's a genuine chance it does when it's this close like that. I feel like if Kaluj was even 10% better than Mikey, there's a chance. There's a chance that this goes to the shock. Genuinely. I don't know. I just think it was a mistake overall. I don't think that. I just don't see the vision. And I know they're like, oh, Mikey plays a bit more aggressive, and maybe you need that to give Proper more space, and maybe you needed to shut down Edison, but it wasn't working towards the end there. I think even if you just want to shake it up and let Dallas like have to adapt to the playstyle, I know you were up 3-2. I know you were up 2-1. You had the lead. You Dallas didn't have the lead in the series until the last map, until it was over, right? Actually, they had the lead initially after first map. Dallas win first map. Why don't you put in Kalush? I don't get it. I don't know. Who knows if it would have helped? I think it would have. That's me. But Mikey didn't play awful. It wasn't the end of the world. Now talking about the start of the show, let me converse about Proper. Here's the thing about Proper. Shock's only win condition throughout this entire series is Proper killing everyone. That's it. Proper is how they win their fights, how they win their maps. Li Zhang, Edison came alive in the final moment, gets a big kill. Proper doesn't answer it because it's on Proper, basically. King's Row. Proper was doing a lot. Dallas were on a warpath through A, through B. They just had the cap at the end of B. Shock only made it to the end of B. And it looked like Dallas were going to do it. You know what happens? Proper takes a stand, does not let them play the game for like 4 minutes. Genuinely. He stops them. He takes a stand. They would have been up 2-0 if Proper didn't take this moment on the King's Row. Dorado, 3-2 for Shock. What happens? Sparkles on the Tracer. Immediately, the close hold, gone. Doesn't work. Shot dead. Because Fielder insta-died. You kill Fielder, Dallas are going to fall on the close hold. It just keeps going. On the high ground, it's Proper. The start, it's everything. It's everything. Esperanza. Dallas end up winning this one just barely. They had some really nice rotations where they come out of angles you don't expect. All that kind of stuff. But again, Proper is what brought him there. He's playing super great, super huge flanks, massive flanks. Just he's in the back line suddenly. He's just there. And Dallas, I'll turn around, they're like, oh shit. They turn around for him. But at that point, hopefully Striker's able to come through. Striker had a good game. He's making space. He's getting kills. He's doing it all. He's doing it all himself. Oasis, back-to-back 100 O's. You know why? Proper just diffed. Edison didn't even build alts. Like, genuinely, he was losing an ult percentage to the point percentage. The point percentage says 90. Bro's at 70%. He's just dead on cooldown. Absolute diff. Then you go to Route 66. Dallas played damn well on Route 66. Dallas goes crazy. Edison comes alive. Edison, at this point, he's getting the picks they need. He's doing a lot. He does start to edge out Proper in some instances, but you have to remember, Dallas, at this point, are throwing every single resource they have at shutting down Proper. All of it. And again, on Coliseum. Proper has rail. All of Dallas are gone. You can't see them. Proper cannot see them. They just leave. There's an overclock. They just leave. Sometimes they send Chio at him. I don't know why. Maybe they're thinking the risk reward between like, oh, you lose your Lucio who doesn't have beat, or Proper kills the entire team. So they're like, we'll let Chio distract him for a bit. If we can come back afterwards, it's worth or something. I'm not sure what the vision is on there. Maybe he was just feeding. He was dying often to it, so I don't know. It might have been a genuine strategy that Rush enabled to try and minimize the overclock uptime, like effective uptime, when you're not trying to shoot a Lucio. I don't know. It didn't feel too effective to me whenever they tried that, but who knows? Well, Proper's that guy, right? It is Proper against the super team. And Edison had a good game, for sure, but he's not getting everyone thrown at him. He's getting better resources, better space from Fearless. And he had a good game. Edison played out of his mind. Coliseum, insane shots. It looked like Chalk were gaining momentum. Edison pops the overclock, kills two, shuts it all down. Multiple times. He was just shutting it down. Great job from Edison, not trying to take anything away from him. But Proper was just a force. And I know, you know what, I've been ranting about Proper for so long. Everyone rants about Proper. You don't want to hear me talk more about Proper. But this guy, MVP Rookie of the Year of this season, deserves it all the way. And he's just different. He's just different from anyone else. He diffs Shy. I was saying Shy was the best Sojourn. It's Proper. He's the best DPS player in the game. It's just not even close. He's a different breed. He just is. Now, I'll stop talking about him, but the point is there. You know what? It's Proper. Now, I'll move on to a bit more. I'll go to the Reapers. Striker versus Sparkle. Honestly, a very interesting matchup because Striker wasn't hitting these flanks that he was hitting in the Houston matchup I was talking about. He wasn't hitting those. And oftentimes, whenever Dallas were losing, it felt like Sparkle was kind of invisible. Like on this Route 66 for a while, I was like, where is Sparkle? What's he doing? On this Oasis. What is where is Sparkle? I can't see him. But there were moments, Colosseo, he comes up big. A big turning point in this series for me. Sparkle was able to get a 3K Blossom to stop Shock momentum. It looked like they were going to move past the Coliseum. No one was past the Coliseum the whole time. And then Sparkle hits a 3-man Blossom. Big Suzu comes out from Fielder to help him, to secure it, basically. Doesn't happen if the Fielder Suzu isn't there. And he is the reason that Dallas were able to push out first from that Coliseum and have Shock playing catch up the entire way through the final map of the year. That was the turning point in the map for me. So I think Sparkle definitely deserves big credit for that. But because Reaper's just so fundamental, you don't notice them as much as the Sojourn gaps going on back and forth. And I'm not saying okay. I'll go back to Edison for a moment. I kind of said that he came up big on Route 66 Colosseo. He was also big Lejean, get that big picks there. Esperanza, it was more of just a team play. It felt like Dallas had some really cool maneuvers that was going on, just different angles you don't expect. And then Colosseo, it did feel like Edison, but also some great plays from Dallas. I'll talk about this one for a little bit here. This play that Dallas had. Overtime, not overtime yet, but the clock is ticking down. Finn hits a Kitsune rush. All of Dallas are at the checkpoint for Shock. Shock's checkpoint. Like Dallas, just like the checkpoint that Dallas reaches. I don't know if that's hard to explain. But anyway, it pops. All of Dallas leave. They rotate under the bridge that the bot has to cross and fight there. And it looked like Shock had no idea this was going to happen. I would assume you'd go back, you fight the Coliseum. But they played so fast, they were there, they get a surprise kill, they get extra distance. If they don't get that extra distance, Shock could have won on Colosseo. They didn't get there as it is. But there was a good chance they could have. Right? Just plays like that, Shock wasn't doing those. That's the macro play. That's the big brain stuff that the Dallas hive mind is capable of. As a whole. Shock don't have that. That's one edge to Dallas right there. And that's a big reason they win both the pushes. They're so good at push for that reason. The pop-off plays, it's very difficult to win multiple fights like that, especially when you have to walk into Dallas, right? So that's big. And now I'll get back to the Reapers. Just the fundamental gameplay, basically. But Striker did feel a bit more pop-off. He did feel like he had some more moments overall. But Mikey Mouse was getting shut down by Sparkle and all that. So don't worry about that. Now, the support lines. Violet was hitting the feed drive a little bit at times. Colosseo, Violet was hitting some feeds. Starting off, there were some feeds there as well. But he was consistently building ult extremely fast, characteristically. You had the ult. Oh, I clicked on Striker, my bad. It's Violet gameplay. And Chio had some turbo feed moments as well. I already discussed it. Whenever Proper pops overclock, boom, Chio's there right in his face. And he gets headshot most of the time. So the Lucios, both of them had some feed moments. I'd say Chio overall was better utilized by Dallas as a team. Again, that higher coordination making a huge difference. There were a couple beats where on Lijiang, they lose the final overtime because Violet doesn't get a beat on Proper or Mikey, and they both end up dying. Proper slides in because he's like, well, he was expecting a beat. He was trusting the beat. If he gets it, maybe he kills a lot. Who knows? Little things like that. Now, I don't know. It might not have been Violet's fault that Proper didn't get it. It could have been a really good bubble from Fearless. A lot of things could have happened there, but it happened. So he needs to be in a position where it doesn't happen like that, you know? So yeah, just stuff like that. I do give the edge to Chio. Now that's just team diff though. That's a lot. Lucio's a lot of team diff, but the Fielder versus Finn, I'm so impressed with Fielder. Fielder would have been my MVP choice. It did go to Fearless. I think that's equally valid. As long as MVP for the playoffs went to either Edison, Fearless, or Fielder, I'm happy. I would have personally picked Fielder because he was finding some crazy picks just out of nowhere. He was another threat that Proper has to think about because he was just throwing those kunais, just giving her, you know? And the Suzus that he had on Sparkle on anyone, huge Suzus, constantly. Fielder, everything was done right by Fielder, it felt like. And that's partially because Fearless was able to be such a force, able to live so well. There would be times where Fearless gets a 1 HP, Fielder gets there. He heals him up, he gains all that extra ult charge. But yeah, I don't know. I think Finn had a good game as well. But to me, Fielder is the best Kiriko at the normal Kiriko playstyle. That isn't the Teru playstyle. It's Fielder, 100%. I don't really know what else to say. Like, this was a crazy series. Absolutely insane. The best Overwatch League Grand Finals ever, I would say. Like, just straight up. I would highly suggest watching some of these maps. Absolute domination on Oasis. The Coliseum ideas from Dallas. The crazy like rotations that they would make. Just how safe they play with Proper. It's insane. But if you have to get one, you take one thing from this whole thing. Proper's the best. Dallas Fuel are the best team. And they look it, right? This was a lot closer than I thought it would be. And I'm very happy. I'm just cheering for good Overwatch, right? That's what I'm doing. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough about Proper, about all these guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you really liked it. I will have off-season content. Let me know if you have any off-season content ideas. I'd love to hear it. I have some ideas cooking up, but I don't know how. I don't know. We'll see how long this off-season is. Hopefully it's not too bad. I don't want to make up content forever. But anyway, that's enough. Deuces. Have yourself a good one.